New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani meeting with Wall Street titans Jamie Dimon and David Solomon as critics accuse him of driving business out of the city with his tax the rich agenda. Let's bring in Fox News real estate contributor Katrina Campins and Fox News contributor Robert Wolf, who just sat down with Mayor Mamdani at City Hall and has the picture to prove it. Fresh off of that, what can you tell us? Does he regret standing in front of Ken Griffin's apartment? I want to know.
I think he would ask President Trump for a mulligan on that one. I think that he's hearing it from everyone in the business community that, you know, winning on policy, you don't need to have a boogeyman. And I think what he did with Ken Griffin was wrong.
Did you get to him? I mean, we've talked to you. You say he's got to understand that a business-friendly environment in New York City is what will, you know, champion everything. Did you get to him?
Yeah, I mean, listen, my conversation with him, and you and I have spoken about this, I agree with his platform on affordability. We just disagree on the execution. I think you have to do it with growing revenues, and the best way to do that is work with the business community and the private sector, not by taxation. I also think he learned very quickly when Wall Street did well, his deficit in the budget actually collapsed because of revenues from taxes. That's the best way to get taxes. People make big wages, collect it because they're doing well. And I think it's very clear after meeting with Jamie Dimon, he met with, and David Solomon and Brian Moynihan and Jonathan Gray, all Wall Street execs, that we have to make sure New York City's the capital for financial services. And the only way to do that is make sure the best people want to come.
Well, New York Post's been very critical of him. In fact, today it writes Mamdani's out of touch with the impact of real estate taxes to city coffers. I mean, you know very well how steep those prices are here in New York City. Real estate industry generated tax revenue rose to a record $40 billion in fiscal 2025, accounting for half of locally generated tax revenue. It was the largest source of funding for the city, easily besting the totals for personal income, corporate, and sales taxes. And he's demonizing and going after the very people who pay those taxes.
Absolutely. And to your point, the theatrics have got to go, because I think he put Ken Griffin's family in danger by doing that. So I think that was completely out of line. But we're seeing now Florida turn into Wall Street South as a result of these policies. I mean, the numbers we're seeing in Florida, we've never seen before. We had $39.2 billion of net worth coming into the state. That's $4 million per hour. And you're seeing that as a result of New York and California's policies. I honestly, when I started selling real estate years and years ago, I never expected these numbers. But we're also seeing, last year we saw 361 sales above $10 million. That's basically one sale a day above $10 million. So I think this is going to continue. And I really do believe, Sandra, that this migration is permanent. It's not like COVID. Wow. You're seeing these executives relocate their families. And you're also seeing this in the schools. All of the private schools are overbooked. There's waiting lists as a result of it.
Which is why my next question is did he allude to wanting to woo those Wall Streeters back? Before I ask you that, though, I want to get your reaction to this. This is Mamdani mocking Reagan's very famous big government quote. Listen.
I cannot help but think of the words of our 40th president, Ronald Reagan. He famously said, "The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are 'I'm from the government and I'm here to help.'" It's a good quote, but I disagree. I think 9 more terrifying words are actually, "I worked all day and can't feed my family." We are going to use the power of government to lower prices and make it easier for New Yorkers to put food on the table.
How's that going over, Robert?
Here's what I will say. You know, he did extend childcare to 3 years old. And I would tell you, I was just at the Robin Hood event, and they announced that there's poverty in New York City now at 2.4 million. So there's no question, you and I talked about this K-shaped economy on real estate. It's worse today than it was in COVID. I mean, the gaps with the stock market, it's just growing. I don't think there's a quick fix. I think the best fix is we need to make sure he should have a job program. That's what I spoke to him today about, a skills and job program. So not only about facing poverty, but these kids who are losing their jobs to AI and companies gaining productivity. Listen, I think there's going to be a reckoning throughout this nation on jobs if we don't figure this out quickly.
Incentivize work, too. That would help, right? You referenced the Yahoo Finance headline. The housing market is starting to look K-shaped. High-end home sales are up, while first-time buyers increasingly find themselves priced out of the market. This is the number one thing I hear about the housing market is just how hard it is to break in right now.
Absolutely. And the luxury market is doing so incredibly well. And 81% of those sales, for instance, in Florida are cash. But then you have so many people suffering because of inflation, because of the cost of groceries, because of the cost of gas now. And so so many people are suffering, and we need more affordable housing, both in Florida and New York, because you're seeing that K-shaped that we continue to describe. And then mortgage rates is another big factor. But we have to, the new Fed chair is coming in. So people automatically assume, okay, we're going to have rate cuts, but that's not necessarily what's going to happen. And I think there's a disconnect with the consumers who are waiting to see what occurs with him. But if inflation remains high, we're not going to see mortgage rates go down. And also, it's important to note that the Fed doesn't control the mortgage rates. It's more closely tied to the bond market.
My mind is kind of blown by the 81% of the luxury housing market in Florida right now is cash sales. That's crazy. Can you give us one last tidbit from your big meeting today? We got a few seconds
I'm going to
left.
segue. Katrina was on the first Apprentice, and you just showed part of the live Apprentice from the president. It's Vance versus Rubio. We saw it live today. Rubio went on, and now Vance went on.
Hey.
I give the nod to Rubio on that mano a mano so far.
They both had the room
Live
rocking.
Apprentice.
That is for sure. And then we'll finish off on your picture there. Congrats on your meeting. All right. Well, let us know when you have another one. Thanks
you.
to both of you.